Welcome and thanks for joining us. I know the team at Pathways have recently invested in the GT4000, so we decided to make a short video on how they work, how to set them up and how they run. So in this basic video we're going to cover what is a GT4000 and what you can do with it. So a GT4000 means that it's got 4,000 watts of power, so you can run 4,000 watts of appliances off that. To those who don't deal with power every day, I know you might be thinking, well, what does that actually mean? Can I run a fridge off it? Yes, you can. Can I run a computer off it? Yes, you can. Can I run a fridge and a computer at the same time? Sure thing. So your average fridge might be between 150 to 200 watts, so you can actually run a few fridges off this. The neat thing about the GT4000, if you have too many things plugged in, it's not going to blow up. The simple thing that's going to happen is there's an overload button on the front here. The light will come on until you've pushed it a bit too far. Straightforward, right? So the machine's going to show up in the box. We open the box, remove the machine. The first thing we need to do is put some oil in the machine. You will notice that there's a container of 600 mils worth of oil to get you started. There's also a filler tube. Remove the bung on the side of the machine, insert the filler tube and pour the oil in. Notice on the filler cap that there's some marks that indicate when it's low or when it's full. You'll also notice that once you pour the oil in, it's very close to the outlet on the side of the machine. That's right, that is normal, that's where it's supposed to be. So once the oil's full, put the filler cap back in and clean any oil from around the area. On the back of the machine we can remove the cover. This is where the battery is kept. The battery is already connected to the cables. All we need to do is connect the cables together. You only need to do this once. Once the machine has the battery active, we can simply isolate or turn the battery on by using the switch on the front here. Straightforward, eh? So machine off, machine on. This machine here doesn't have the battery connected at the moment, but once it is connected, you will see that the light is on and the battery is good to go. Once we have the battery connected and we've got our oil in, we can then put fuel in the top. Now, it's just standard, normal car 91 octane fuel. If you want to use Fuel Set, I'll talk a little bit about that. Fuel Set is a product to stop fuel going stale. So if you have petrol in a petrol engine and it sits for a year or two, that petrol can slowly degrade and lose its octane, whatever. It's not going to start the generator as well as it should. You may also find that in the carburetor on the motor, that things clog up. We don't want that. So a small amount of Fuel Set stops it all binding inside the engine over a long period of time. So looking at the Fuel Set that Proline supply, we can see that it's 5 mils for 20 litres. So it's only a really small amount. That's all that's needed to keep your fuel safe from going off. Within Pathways you have 20 litre containers for your fuel. We're putting 5 mils of Fuel Set, so a very small amount into the 20 litre container. That's enough to stop it going off over a long time. Once we've done that, we remove the cap on the top, we pour the fuel in. You'll notice on the top of the machine there's this black inset bit of plastic. If you spill a small amount of fuel, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to damage the machine. Actually, it's kind of designed to handle a little bit of that. Equally so, there's nothing stopping you having a bit of a rag there, giving it a wipe and then disposing of the rag. We put the top back on, do it up tight, just hand tight, doesn't need to be super tight, and we're good to go. So how do we make the machine go? We push the button on the front here, that will work. Either that, or on the side of the machine, you will notice there's 2 key fobs. These key fobs are remote, so you can be from a distance, you can be back up to 50 metres in a clear line of sight, or you can be sitting inside a building and it will actually travel through walls to start and stop your machine. Straightforward. On the front, we've got 2 15 amp outlets. The question was asked earlier, can you run multi-boxes off this? Heck yes. Your normal 10 amp house plug, here's one we prepared earlier, we plug into the front. It's just a normal pin, good to go. So we've got 2 ports, we can run one off each side. Again, if your machine's overloaded, the machine will tell you that, so you don't need to worry about it. One important step before we go to start it, need to make sure the fuel's turned on. No fuel, no start. Pretty straightforward, eh? So once we've finished with it, if you don't think you're going to run it for a long time, we can actually turn the fuel off, leave the machine running for a while, and it will run out of fuel inside the machine, and that also stops it from getting clogged if it's sitting for a really long time. So again, basic steps, we put the oil in, we connect the battery, put the fuel in, we turn the switch on the front, we're good to go. Let's think about safety. When we're running a petrol engine of any kind, we're going to put it outside. Equally so, it needs to be protected from the weather. This does have digital components inside, and obviously we've got the cord coming out the front. We need to think about your safety. So putting it in a sheltered area that's open to the air so fumes are not a factor is the way to go. If you're around water when you're putting the plug in, there's a risk. So this needs to be clean, dry, and kept safe. When moving the unit, the neat thing about these are 40 kg empty, so it's probably going to be around 50 kgs full. There's a handle on each end. When you go to put it in the back of a car or on a ute or whatever, please use a second person. One person each side makes it a very easy lift. On the front here, you'll see there's a telescopic handle, there's a push button, pops out. So now we can lift and move our machine on a 45-degree angle. We don't recommend sitting on its end. Obviously there's oil inside the motor, it's not really made to be sitting on its end, but 45 degrees is fine. Once you've got the generator into position, we can sit it down flat, push the button again, and retract the handle. On the front here, let's have a look at some of the things you'll need to know. So again, we've got fuel on, power on with a battery, and start. There's one other button that you might be interested in, which is Eco Mode. Eco Mode essentially slows the motor when it's got a low load on it. So if you're only running a TV or a few lights, you might want to have the Eco Mode on, and it's going to slow the revs down a little bit, have a little bit lower output, but it will make your fuel last for a really long time. So another neat bit of gear is this thing here, a trickle charger. So this is only a very low current device, a bit like your cell phone charger. We plug it into the normal mains power when you're not using the GT, so this is before we've got a power cut. It plugs into the front, so I put this sort of thing off here, plugs into the front, goes into a wall socket. What this does is it puts a really minimal amount of charge back into the battery, so that on that rare occasion when it's 2 o'clock in the morning, the power's gone out, you need to do something, whatever, you can push the start button and you know your GT is going to start. Again, when we have finished using the machine, we're actually going to turn our battery switch up the top here off, and that's going to isolate the battery and again protect it from going flat. A bit like a car, if you jumped out of your car and you left your keys on in the ignition and you came back 3 weeks later, you wouldn't expect it to start. Same with the GT. If we leave our switch on for an indefinite time, it will slowly drain it down. Using our trickle charger, put that in there, keeps it topped up, good to go. Think about oil changes and maintenance. After the first 10 hours, change the oil. If it's 11 hours, it's not going to hurt, but generally around 10 hours, we want to change the oil. To do that, remove the side cap, remove the drainage bung or the filler bung, insert the tube that comes with the machine, tip it on its side into a suitable oil container. Again, we find it easier to elevate the machine first, tip it on its side, drain the oil, put fresh oil in, straightforward. Once we've changed the oil and we've got the new oil in, the machine can run for up to 100 hours use before we need to change it again. If you'd like to find out more about our GT4000, there's several videos on YouTube that I invite you to check out that'll go into greater depth on some of the other features on there. But the basics, put the oil in it, plug the battery in, fuel set if you want to use it, turn the switch on, push the go button, you're away. Any problems, you're welcome to contact us here at Proline Industrial. We know all about these machines and we've got every spare part you can think of. Thanks for watching.